we think of first contact, we generally think about aliens invading Earth. We think about aliens coming and halting the progress in which we're making in evolution, technological advancements. We're trying to change our world to expand out into the universe. But before that can happen, we are invaded by a barbaric alien species that we do not understand, that really just cuts us down as we're on the up and up. However, what if we, as humans, were the invaders? What if we were the more barbaric of the two species and we entered into the atmosphere of another planet to halt and cut down a species that is progressing? Even more interesting, what if the world in which we are invading is actually a world that we made habitable, and also on top of that are the only reason why this other life form is evolving into an intelligent being? Oh, and this other intelligent species just happens to be spiders. I want to welcome you back to the Fantasy Network, everyone. My name is, of course, Jimmy Nuts, and today we're going to be doing a no-spoiler review of Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is one that I've had recommended to me by many, many people before, and I'm excited to talk about it today here on the channel. Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky was released in 2015, and since then has become one of the most recommended and praised works in modern science fiction, eventually finding its way to an Arthur C. Clarke Award for the Best Science Fiction of the Year in 2016, and then being optioned for a possible film adaptation. Children of Time includes some of the very best concepts from science fiction, like artificial intelligence, aliens of a sort, manipulation of evolution, and even messiahs. Adrian Tchaikovsky has a way of proposing and executing these topics and questions in a way that is so imaginative and at times even alien to us as humans that one can't help but marvel at this creativity. Children of Time establishes a human perspective that feels very futuristic but still down to earth, haha, and relatable. It feels like I can connect to it. Humans are on a mission to expand intelligent life. We haven't found it yet, so we will start the expansion ourselves. We terraform a planet to make it habitable, and we are going to be sending monkeys out to this planet and basically boosting their evolution, express laning it all the way to intelligent life. But before this amazing feat can be accomplished by us humans, we do what we do the very best, and we mess it all up. Infighting and civil war breaks out, and it essentially sends this whole thing into a spiral and cuts down what would have been one of the most incredible feats, possibly in the universe. We mess it up so bad as humans that we almost send ourselves into an accidental extinction.
Yep, that sounds like humanity.
Unfortunately, Bobby B, you're right, and it seems like a lesson that we still have yet to learn. But through the faults of humans, Adrian Tchaikovsky achieves something that I think is just absolutely spectacular, and he shows the progress of a species who's actually progressing and trending upward and less so down into an apocalypse. And in that, our perspective changes from being human beings in the universe to simply a perspective of just life, another intelligent life in the universe. I found the way that he did this so fascinating and smooth. I never really questioned the fact that I was going to be getting perspectives from another form of life, like ants and spiders and everything else. This is impressive because I am not necessarily someone who thinks about what it would be like to be an intelligent spider. And because at which the rate this artificial evolution that we started on this planet takes place, it actually makes the book's pace really efficient. You're looking at these large leaps ahead in the future and in this species, and it keeps the book humming. It keeps the pages turning, and I found this to be excellent. This dude loves bugs, and I myself am not a bug lover. I feel like Adrian Tchaikovsky went and saw Bug's Life back in like 2000 and was like, yep, that's it. That's what I'm going to focus on for all my science fiction and fantasy. I'm going to be a writer, and it's going to be very much centered around bugs, because I know a lot of his other works also feature bugs. Most shockingly about this book is I found myself enthralled with the bug sections more than the human sections. Maybe because the humans are definitely a bit annoying and numbskulls in this story. But there's something fascinating about connecting with something that isn't human. I think why I was able to connect with these bug perspectives is because as something becomes an intelligent life, it begins to have the ability to ask questions about what is bigger than ourselves, what is out in the unknown, and the need to, and the want to understand those things beyond ourselves. And this is kind of a mirror to the experience that I had reading this book, is that I wanted to know more about something that I quite honestly did not understand. This artificial evolution really takes takes the cake. I mean, as far as a unique idea in a science fiction book, I'm sure it's been done other places, but the way that it is spun here is really tremendous. Characters across all species are very creative, fun, and imaginative, as well as the ideas in this story. But one of the best parts about this book is that I loved Adrian Tchaikovsky's writing style. I thought that it was very accessible, but never bland. And it held a personality that is deserved for these cool ideas. There's a time in the book where an AI is speaking as a human is also speaking to the AI, and the people receiving the communication can actually hear both things. The person and the AI are not aware of this. And as they're talking at the same time, Adrian Tchaikovsky takes the time to split the book in that section in half, and you have 2 columns on the page, and you get the sense of 2 different messages being relayed to at the exact same moment. And it instills almost a panic in me as a reader. And I got really flustered, like, well, which one of these am I supposed to read first? Probably left to right, but I don't know. Is that true? And which one of these should I trust? Which message? Because they're very conflicting messages. And the cool thing about having a physical reaction to writing on a page and the way it's presented is that it definitely reflects what the people in the scene are feeling as well. They're feeling flustered. They're hearing 2 things. Have you ever heard 2 people talk at once? It is horrifying. It boggles my mind. It immediately sets me on edge. And I felt that when I read these sections, and I was always worried that maybe I wasn't reading the first one, when I should. It was excellent. And the fact that it could give me such a visceral reaction tells me that this writing has a ton of personality and is also top notch. I love the writing in this story. Simply put, this is like a 650 page book that really felt to me more like a 300 page book. I felt like the pacing was always moving forward, whether you were jumping back to the humans still trying to figure it out, or in the bug's perspective as well. There is a ant and spider section here where they kind of go to war, and it is as compelling as any human battle I have ever read. And I've always found ants to be kind of fascinating. Spiders, terrifying. Ants, really interesting for some reason. And those sections of the book were probably my absolute favorite. But at no point in the story did it ever really slow down for me, and I was never not interested in what was going on in the story. This book was a hit for me. It wasn't a guaranteed 5-star read. It's not my favorite science fiction of all time, but it was just great. And I think that there's a whole lot to be excited about and enjoying an Adrian Tchaikovsky novel, because he's one of the most prolific authors in fantasy and science fiction today. So knowing I have a ton of other works from him to read is excellent. I've only read one other book by him, and that was Cage of Souls, where I could see a premise and ideas that were just, really awesome. And I was super excited about. Unfortunately, the execution in that book did not click with me, and it ended up being one of my lowest rated books since I started this channel. But I knew that someone who has published this much and grown this much, and with plenty of recommendations, that something of his was going to land with me, and I'm so glad it was Children of Time. Anyone that can get me to connect to a bug's POV and then feel an existential crisis at artificial evolution and biological hacks is someone that's worthy of my reading time. And this book expanded my perspective in one of the most unique ways I've ever had as a reader, and it also has to be one of the most unique science fiction books that I have ever read. And this is something I would definitely recommend to you if you are curious. If you like this review, drop a like down below. If you dislike it, you can dislike. If you loved it, think about subscribing. There is a Patreon in the description. It was optional, but always appreciated. Until I see you next time, be good, be safe, and remember to always keep turning the page. Want to give a big shout out to my Wildlings Nights watching Kingsguard. My Kingsguard include Lauren, Henrik, Kai, Eric B, Oscar, Stewart, Stephen R, Ikaika, Amanda, RJ Shaw, Nicoletta Tanner, Jennifer, Garrick, Frank C, Fever, Matthias J, Sarah, Pat, Prithvi, Kevin, Ryan, Michael, Terrence, Wade, Darren, Taylor D, Derry, John C, Bass, Mitch, Sebastian, Benjamin, Jobot, Noel, Amanda L, Nicholas, C. Scott, Steve Talks Books, John, Chadia, Yolanda, Carlos, Jonathan J, Caitlin S, and Evie, and Curtis L. Thank you all so much. You're the best.